Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us here at USA Global TV and Radio. We are a global network, and we are thrilled to have you wherever you are joining us from in the world. I'm Dr. JACALYN KERBECK. I'm the president, founder, and chief listening officer here at our network. Our show today is The Power of Etiquette and Manners. And if you've joined us before, welcome back. If it's your first time, you are in for a treat. Etiquette and manners is so much more than what might come to mind. And as my co-star here, Philip Sykes, will share with us, it's not just for posh people, it's for everyone. And we've got a great guest who's also joining us, but let's bring out Philip. He is the principal of the British School of Excellence, and he is quite a wonderful person. I really admire him and value his friendship. Welcome to the program, Philip.
A huge, warm Friday to you. Thank you, Dr. JACALYN, as ever. And to all of you wonderful listeners out there, to those who listen in every week, to new listeners, a very warm welcome.
It's so much fun to be with you on Fridays. I truly look forward to it. The topics are so interesting. The guests are phenomenal. And you always look downright handsome. I love it. You're always dressed to perfection.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
And your vivacious smile and all that you do is just amazing. So thank you.
Well, thank you very much. And I would love for you to share with people, power of etiquette and manners is a broad subject. And everyone in the world, no matter where they live, who they are, has an opportunity to practice this, to embrace this, to incorporate into their lives. Tell us more, if you would, please.
Absolutely. The word broad is broad. It's a very broad subject. A lot of people think etiquette and manners are just about your pleases and your thank yous and holding the door for someone or showing up or turning up to an interview, putting your best foot forward, and they're not really caring about anything else for the rest of the day. Etiquette and manners is how we show up every single day. And it really, in a nutshell, boils down to you being a good human being. In other words, being kind, being generous, being thoughtful, being empathetic, having good social skills, social etiquette, having the ability to sort of understand what shifts you and shifts your mood and how to contain that, how to really, literally, as I said, show up every single day. And I truly believe that humanity cannot be compromised. We cannot compromise on this because the world has moved so fast in the last 10, 15, 20 years. We are now in the fourth industrial revolution. And if you don't show up with good life skills, hardcore life skills, people are going to fall by the wayside. We are needing that more so than ever before. How do we make people feel and how do we connect? And that is literally just scratching the surface of the importance and the power of etiquette and manners. It's your emotional intelligence. It's bringing in that real human touch and taking great care of our fellow human beings, learning to connect on different levels, not just the level you want to be connected on. So that's just me sort of summarizing a hint of what the power of etiquette and manners are all about.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. I love the way that you just explained that. And tell us about the British School of Excellence and the offerings that you have there.
The British School of Excellence was formerly, as a lot of you may know, was the British School of Etiquette, and we transitioned into the British School of Excellence. We focus and are blessed to work with people all over the world, from as young as 6 years old to the oldest person that's walked through the door is 78 years old. And we are here to work with every person as an individual. We work with organizations in customer excellence, customer service, how are they showing up every single day, right across the board, to individuals who want to better their own lives, better their own businesses, better their relationships, and just go out there putting their best foot forward with great confidence. So from the power of etiquette and manners, we have emotional intelligence programs. We've recently launched an amazing e-learning program in our EQ department. I think the value is $149, and you get a huge amount of coaching and training for that, plus amazing extras. And just from style to presentation to body language to how do we present from the front of the room, how do we speak, all of those fall under our brand at the British School of Excellence. So anybody out there looking to change careers, to put their best foot forward, want to elevate themselves, just get in touch with us. We would love to have a conversation with you.
Thank you so much, Philip. I appreciate it. And then we have a comment from Nina. I'm not going to get your last name right, but welcome, Nina. She writes, hello, it's lovely to see you again, Philip. The best, British School of Excellence. Beautiful.
Nina, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, Nina, amazing. Thank you for coming in and taking care and watching. What joy it is. And again, as you mentioned earlier, Dr. JACALYN, we've got a great guest backstage.
Yes, I can't wait to bring out Antoinette. Tell us more.
So Antoinette, where do I start? Living on the island of Malta, an incredible woman, someone who doesn't give up easily or give up at all. She very much is inspired by working with people, growing people. Antoinette's done a plethora of things through her life. She has this passion for restoring old buildings. She's got a passion for teaching people. She's formerly taught English. As I said, she lives on this beautiful island of Malta, which is in the Mediterranean. And Antoinette came through our Train the Trainer program, I'm going to say within reason, a couple of months ago. And I know she's passionate about afternoon tea. That's one of her assignments, came through to us for marking and for assessing. And she did a beautiful journey into the English afternoon tea history and etiquette, and the importance of those quintessential skills that we need to adopt. So without further ado, Dr. JACALYN, please bring Antoinette into the studio.
Welcome, Antoinette. Nice to see you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on your show, and thank you, Philip, for your encouragement. Thank you.
It's so wonderful to see you, Antoinette.
Antoinette, I just want to, just something on an aside comment is about Malta. I have seen amazing pictures on Instagram about how beautiful it is there. Is it true?
It is true. There's a lot of history here. It goes way back to about 10,000 years. We have the oldest standing pillars here in Malta, older than Stonehenge. Besides, we have a lot of history, a lot of wars happened, a lot of victories happened. And it is beautiful. A lot of sceneries, yes. We're a tabletop, actually. Once upon a time, we were part of Sicily and Africa. So, but yes, it is a lovely place. You should visit.
I would think you're surrounded by beauty like that it has to just inspire you, and you just wake up feeling differently than if you woke up somewhere where it's dark and dreary.
Well, we have the sea around, obviously, because it's a small island, but also the sun. Too much of it sometimes, yes. But it's lovely. It is. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, Antoinette, before I turn over to Philip, a question I have for you is, what is it that led you to the British School of Excellence, and how was your experience there?
And primarily, I was thinking of wanting to experience this, having this afternoon tea. So people could literally come in and stop for an hour or two in the right environment, not just having tea. We can have tea anywhere, but in the proper environment where it's relaxing, where you have the proper china, the proper ambience, everything, and the proper dress code as well. That is something which I will definitely, have. People cannot just walk in dressed, very casually, because I think that spoils the environment when you really want to relax, really want to be in it. And from there, then I said, okay, I will have to teach my staff. And I definitely needed to polish my own etiquette and manners, which I have always been very cautious about, but there's always so much to learn. And I found Philip's etiquette and manners, and I knew that was the one I wanted to take. And I'm definitely not disappointed. It's a wonderful course, and I do encourage everyone who wants to move forward, who wants to better themselves, to do take up this course, because we all need it as individuals, not just as groups, as individuals. And that led to, so now I have taken the course. I will continue working on my afternoon tea. And as I was saying earlier, one of the questions I had during the course was regarding challenges in my life. I have had quite a few, and I thought it would be nice and important to share with your esteemed guests or audience situations which were very difficult, very dark, but there's always the light at the end of the tunnel, and we must never give up. Never, no matter what situation we're in, there's always hope.
Absolutely. And we definitely want to hear about your journey. Before we do, Philip, any comments or questions you'd like to pose?
Yeah, I love the fact that Antoinette really looked at the finite detail in the whole journey into taking someone through an English afternoon tea experience. It's not just literally putting a teacup and saucer together with a teapot. It's bringing them into the whole environment and making it a quintessential experience. Because for those of you out there listening or watching, we all know that we've all had afternoon tea before, and it's fun. It's great fun. And Dr. JACALYN, we've had the privilege of bringing in amazing people into the room talking about afternoon tea, and people just seem to have this incredible draw to afternoon tea. So for me, you know, Antoinette, I think you're spot on, and you're onto something very exciting and dynamic there. And I love the fact that never give up, because I know you're not going to give up. And I want to put this right here toward you and to you, that if you need any support or assistance on this journey, you know what I've said to you before, we are here to guide you and steer you as best as we can, to give you anything that you need in taking this journey of yours forward. And you know, you've knocked down so many barriers in your life to get to where you are. So I just applaud you and I admire you exceptionally.
Thank you so much. Thank you. It's very encouraging.
Thank you so much, Philip. And I love the fact that you really have created a community of people who, after they graduated, they take your courses, they still are part of your alumni. You're all close, a close-knit family.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And there's wonderful people always joining. So it's not ever, not that it's dull and boring on any level. It's never going to get dull and boring. It is this amazing adage of phenomenal people. You know, just to break the ice, last week, I know Dr. JACALYN, we had some of the students come on from the Train the Trainer. And you know, again, Antoinette, you've got to meet our dear new friend, Loretta Thomas in the Bahamas and Nassau. She's got this beautiful tea room called Cafe Channing Noel, and she's launching the Duchess, where she's going to be teaching etiquette and afternoon tea. Fascinating, along with amazing Sarah all the way over in the UAE, and Majda. Again, just phenomenal people who are now going to be new to the alumni. So it's just phenomenal how it just keeps building and growing. And I just want people in the alumni community just to, excuse the term, but just to milk the opportunity of connecting with one another. Share your comments, share your thoughts, use it to connect and embrace and network.
There it is, Antoinette. There's a whole group of people for you to get to know as well. So I think that's wonderful.
Exciting, yes. Very exciting.
It is. We'd love to hear from you about your experience. So please do start off with your journey. Take us through what you've experienced, please.
I will start with the first one I planned. When I gave birth to my daughter, this is over 30 years ago now, 2 hours after she was born, I had complications and I was actually dying. It was obviously a difficult time. However, what I'd like to say is that, of course, the medicals did what they had to do, and thank God I'm here. However, 3 weeks later was the time when I could baptize my daughter. I could not do that before because I was still recovering. I was still very pale. I was okay, of course, to go out, but I was still very pale, which is not normally myself. So I want to share an experience which happened, which I didn't know. I didn't know that these things existed. So I really would like people to remember this. It was something I thought of, or I thought maybe, not at all. When my daughter was being baptized, and her head was in the palm of my hand, and the priest was anointing her with holy oil and holy water, at that very instant, I felt from my waist running up to my face like running water, but of heat. It was like, and her head was there in my palm, and I knew without, you just know that God had healed me. He completed the healing. That convalescing period I could do away with. And I literally left the church as red as a tomato. And you can see the photos, even from before the church and afterwards. So that's something I didn't know. I didn't, expect, because I did not know God would work like that. I did not have that relationship, if you like. So that was one thing. I'll go to the other challenge which I have prepared, was when my marriage broke down. I did not see it coming. I only got to know 9 hours before. I had no idea. I knew there were things happening. I knew that he probably was seeing someone else, but that he would leave the house, never. It was a terrible and a very dark time. I can only give it to you the way it happened, the pain is beyond words. It was a very dark time. I literally one time sat on the sofa, and this was just a few days later, looking at my arm, knowing that I know where this one is, but I don't know where my other arm is. And I was careful not to cry in front of my daughter. She was only 5. But the tears would never stop. I mean, I cried, I sobbed, and I wailed for 9 whole months. Okay, it doesn't mean that nothing happened afterwards. There were many, many difficult situations, of those heavy, difficult situations. But the difference was that 9 months down the line, and again I say, I had no idea that Jesus exists in this way. Absolutely, I had never heard of it, that there was a personal relationship. But because I decided, without really deciding, in the beginning to turn to a few prayers I remember I had in my drawer, I chose a few holy pictures, and every evening after putting my daughter to bed, I used to pray these prayers on the sofa in darkness, except with the television light on. And the amount of tears that used to come, that sometimes my nose and my ears were totally blocked. But because I persevered, because I was consistent, so it was every single evening that I put my daughter to bed around 8 o'clock, and I used to go on the sofa and pray these prayers. And because I was opening my heart, which I didn't know then I was doing, through prayer and through these tears, the Lord started to show me himself in a way that I wasn't conscious, no, but at the same time, I started talking to him like I'm talking to the wall, if you like. But anyway, yes, there was one person who was helping me, and that was a priest who was with me on the phone every evening, where I could share with him the day's situations, what happened, what my ex-husband did, or what he didn't do, etc. So anyway, there are a lot of details which I will not go into over here. However, 9 months down the lane, I had a breakthrough, which was, again, I had no idea it existed. But my life, my situation was exactly the same. It remained exactly the same. But I was changed from the inside. So then I was looking at things differently. Any problems that came along, you deal with them in a different light. And this is not just in the mind. So people might say, oh, she's thinking, oh, not at all. I wish I could go into certain details, because it was amazing, And literally, no one could stop my smile or my joy. It's a joy which there's no word in the dictionary to explain, literally. And then anyway, the Lord doesn't leave you alone. What would I do with all this joy? I was just on my own, and no one knew about it, People thought I was being silly or funny or whatever they thought. But then I was led to a group, which I'm still in, actually. It was where I could literally let out this joy which I had inside, besides obviously the healing that still needed to be done, and so much more. We all need healing, not just from these experiences, but from childhood, before, after, And then life goes on. Life goes on. So I'll stop there about this one, even though there are many details which I wish I could share so people can understand better. But one thing I can tell you, turn to God. Even if you don't know him, even if you don't think he exists, it doesn't matter. Just be sincere. That's the main thing, because he knows every detail. Be sincere and just say, Lord, if you really exist, show me. Do that. And you will see results. And you have to be persistent, because God knows the right time for us. I mean, it took 9 months. It's like the birth of a child in my case. But then the breakthrough happened. Now, the third thing I would like to share with you was that in 1990, if I may, yes, if I may.
Yeah, yes, I want to thank you for your transparency and your honesty today, because I know that's not easy to do. We do have a comment, so I just wanted to share this from Dr. Pauline Crawford, the conversation game changer over on LinkedIn. Thank you for being with us today. I love this conversation, such importance into today's rather agitated world. My passion and mission in my own enterprise is authentic harmony between men and women. You are so right about never give up. There is so much natural wisdom in people that when we tap into it, it is the richness of humanity. So there you go, Antoinette. You already affected one person here and many, many more. So thank you for sharing. And thank you, Dr. Pauline Crawford.
Anytime. The other thing I'd like to share was in 1999, my daughter and I had quite an unexpected experience. I had just moved into a new house about 4 weeks late. This happened 4 weeks later. I had been renovating this house for a whole year, but this happened because of bad workmanship, unfortunately. And we were asleep. Thank God my daughter was in my room. She was with me that night. And about 2 or 3 in the morning, I had been asleep maybe for 1 hour. But this sound started coming closer and closer and closer in my dream, but it was waking me up. And the only way I can experience it was an ugly, crushing noise. Thank God, a few weeks, I think it was later, I forgot the feeling of it. I just remember the phrase, but now I don't have the feeling. I had no idea what had happened, but what I knew is that we had to get out of the house. That I knew. In fact, we just went out, just put on my slippers probably, and that was it. It was September. The weather was getting a little bit chilly. What happened was, and the policeman told me, because I still had no idea what happened, because I had he could see from one of the windows outside. He said, it's the roof tank. I had about 1,000-liter tank not on the roof, on the room on top of the roof. That's where we keep our tanks. And what the plumber electrician did, they put this 1,000-liter tank resting half on the wall and half on the roof itself, thinking that they calculated well. But I mean, even if you have a concrete roof, that should never be. They should always put them on a solid iron rod, so they can never be resting on the ceiling. So basically, they put it there 4 weeks before I moved in, and about 4 weeks. So it lasted 8 weeks. And it caved in 2 ceilings. And this was about 10 feet away from my bedroom. So we actually walked beneath it when we were walking down the stairs, and I had no idea. But by then, in those few minutes, everything was settled. No stones came down, no nothing. So I really realized that it happens so fast. If it's on top of you when you're asleep, there's no way you can sit up in bed and get out of bed. No way. It would be all on you. So anyway, by the time we were going down the steps, I remember I saw this large brick. This was one of the bricks they put underneath the tank on the first step. And I remember telling my daughter, careful you don't slip, because it was right in the middle. But then as we're walking down the steps, water was trickling down beneath our feet. And my neighbors were banging on the door loud, And then I shouted, I said, I'm coming, And I went to open the door and I couldn't open the door because the electricity had gone. And that was the thought that had come to me before this. I said, okay, our feet are in water, electricity. I said, I need to turn off the salvavita, where we have, But of course it had gone off by itself. So when the neighbors were banging, I thank God I knew the key was very close. So I got the key, opened the door, water trickling down everywhere. And that was it. The first thing they told me, the policemen are coming, because they were down the road, and the 5 of them came. And that was it. I mean, I was out of the house for another 4 or 5 months, because the stairs right at the very top where the tank came down, it literally was broken from the center. And this was a 150-year-old house, but we made the stairs exactly the same. So that was a shock. It's funnily enough, I was calm. I do keep presence of mind, and I do not allow myself to kind of panic or whatever. But I realized that my body had got the shock when I was trying to speak to the policeman. I couldn't pronounce the words very clearly. And then a friend of mine who came, I called them friends of my couple, he's a doctor, and his wife came, and he told my family member who came, give her whiskey with water. And when I went to their place and I had whiskey, that's when I realized that really my body had got a shock. Because of each sip I took, I felt my heart resting, and even though it wasn't beating fast. So anyway, that was another experience which my daughter and I went through. But then the house was fixed, and then we moved in, and that was okay. And so, yeah. If you wish, I have one more. If you have the time, I'd like to share with you. Yes?
Yeah, please do.
Okay, so the last one I will share over here is, okay, yes. Before the house, I was living in an apartment, and one morning, it was a Sunday morning. Actually, it was Palm Sunday, I still remember. I was asleep, and it was about 7:45 in the morning, and my daughter smelled a smell. I was smelling it in my dream. I knew later, but I was still asleep. And my daughter very gently came to tap me on my shoulder like, "Mommy, there's smoke." And I literally shot out of bed because I was smelling it in my dream. And I saw half the apartment from floor to ceiling. Now I had 12 courses. From floor to ceiling was one big smoke. So it means it had already engulfed the sitting dining room, the hallway, and coming through the kitchen, etc. I opened the window and tried to see if there were neighbors opposite. There was a very large shop. We don't call it a shop, but they're old apartments, so it was huge. And finally, I saw one gentleman, and I called out. And then two Italian young women were 2 floors above me. And when I looked at them, literally on top of their head, there was this whirlwind of dark smoke coming. So it had gone up all the way up to the 5th, 6th floor. So because I had shot out of bed, I tried to call the fire department, which I did. But my heart was beating. This time it was beating so fast, I could not literally pronounce the words. I had presence of mind. I was giving them my home address, and I am trying to pronounce, and I simply could not pronounce my address. In fact, I went to another street. So anyway, when I knew that we could go out of the place or out of the house, because I heard people coming up, even though there was no electricity, we stopped, me and my daughter, we stopped at the last flight of steps because there were the guys there there was something happened. There was a short circuit in one of the meters. And apparently, I think it was mine, actually, I was told. It was one of the new ones. And we stopped at the last flight of steps, and suddenly this explosion happens. Oh, goodness. There were about 4 people on the steps. We all ran out, pushed my daughter out. As soon as we were on the pavement and turned around, the second explosion happens. And literally the room was yellow. So that was it. I had no electricity for 2 days. The whole block was with no electricity. So as I wrote, which was true, I couldn't even make myself a hot cup of tea, Philip. Nothing, And it was tough. And even financially, which I didn't mention, when my ex left, Werner, he threw us in literally a disaster. And I would not work. I would refuse to work because my daughter needed her security, which means her mother had to be at home. So her life remained the same: eating, sleeping, playing, going for her, coming for her from school, everything. And that I had to sacrifice, obviously, not going to work. And so it was very, very bad. I literally lived on Providence for a number of years. Sometimes it didn't come, so I needed to ask. It was more of a humiliation. And this was not a life I was used to living. If my father knew, he would have, he always kept his children living comfortably. But this was the situation, and it was secondary to my daughter's security. So I'm coming to this because now this apartment happened some years later. I had no money even to buy a bus ticket, because that was Sunday morning and I was going to Mass 11 o'clock, which I normally go. It's about 10 minutes by car. I cannot remember why I could not take my car. So we walked it. It was about an hour's walk there and back. So what I'm trying to say is, with all these difficulties that, yes, we do go through in life, there is always a way out. We need to just move on, just go on. I couldn't go because I couldn't take my car. I still wanted to go to my destination. I went on foot. Okay, I got tired coming back, 2 hours walk, no problem. So it is not easy. I'm not saying it's easy. I've cried a lot, so it is she's okay. No. It is through the little decisions that we become stronger. And every day, I was going to say it in Maltese, every day, we spend some time with the Lord. And I mean it, even if you don't know him. 5 minutes every day, please do it. Tell him you don't know him. Tell him you want to get to know him if he really exists. Tell him, sorry. But do it. And that is what kept me going. That is the only thing that kept me going. Who knows where I would be today if it wasn't for that. So please be encouraged, honestly.
Wow. Thank you, Antoinette. You've been through so much, and the way you just described those situations, it just sounded so terrifying. One thing after another, and yet you're so strong. And I just wonder, when you think back and you're sharing those experiences, are you actually sort of reliving them again, or have you been able to find closure?
Yes, definitely. When I had the breakthrough 9 months later, that's when the closure came. Because, as I said, the situation remained exactly the same, but I was changed from the inside. Of course, there were many other difficulties that came along. I mean, my father passed away 7 months down the line. I couldn't even go to his funeral because I was so sick with a simple cold. But my body was taking so much that that simple cold became a 3-day in bed, But yes, the worst thing was, I will be honest, the worst thing was when I knew I had grounds for my annulment. So in the Catholic Church, if you're married in a sacramental marriage and you think you have grounds for your annulment, meaning the marriage never had happened, they study each case individually. That wasn't nice because I had to take myself through everything again. And that wasn't, it was like, I didn't want to do that, but it wasn't necessary, so I did it. But other than that, you just have to go on, even though it's going to be extremely tough. You have to go on, but in prayer. That is something I know. I don't say it because I say it. I know other people who have been through situations, and we do know that it is what makes a difference, So that is, I really would like to encourage people.
Absolutely. I feel so touched and enlightened by what you shared today, and I appreciate your courage.
You're most welcome. Thank you. It's
amazing, Antoinette. And I think with every improvement in life is about the results of change. It is about the results of change, and I think this is where we get inside our own heads too much as human beings, and we just think we hit a dead end. And we've got to really dig deep to make those changes. We really do, because if we keep doing what we've always done, we're always going to do what we've always done. And you've got to step out of your comfort zone. We've got to push one another, encourage one another. And this is why one of the main reasons, behind the organization is really encouraging people to help one another, to be good human beings, to support one another, to go out on a limb and make a change, make a difference in someone's life, because it's so fundamental. We need to be 100% looking after one another and going back to the old sort of principles of, going back to the grassroots and taking care of each other. And I met such a fascinating gentleman the other day who's traveled the world. He's lived with the Masai Mara in Kenya, and he's lived with the Mongolian shepherds. And he really shared something quite phenomenal. He said people have lost that agility to help one another. And when these tribes are together, everyone knows what they're doing. Everyone knows what their reason for life is. Everyone has a purpose. And they taught from a very young age where they start and where they go. And I can dig a lot deeper on this, and it's actually an opportunity to get this gentleman to come in and share his view on USA Global TV. But, just listening to you talk there, Antoinette, and when you're talking, you can see there's still that row inside you that you go into that place, but you've managed to push yourself forward and keep educating yourself, and you keep working at things to make a change in your life. And this is what this is all about.
True.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you. So, Antoinette, we're actually coming to the end of the show. You did share with people to put their faith in God, to reach out to God, to ask God to show them the way that God exists. And for people who believe or don't believe, what other tips can you share with us in addition to the fact that there is always hope? Can you share something about that inner strength, about the curiosity to grow as a person?
As I said earlier, it is from the little small decisions that we make daily. That is what makes us strong. However, when my ex-husband left, it was terrible, but my focus was on my daughter, not on the finance, even though that was terrible, but on my daughter's security. So that's where I focused. And then even if people disagreed with me, for example, or they thought, oh, she should go to work. No, I knew beyond the shadow of a doubt that my place was there with my daughter, not in an office. So that starts to give you the inner strength, because then even later on, when you look back, through the result that it was the right decision. I mean, of course, we make wrong decisions, everyone does, but then you need to put them right or seek advice, possibly. However, it is my consistency in daily prayer, even if it's 5 minutes, 10, 15. When you stop and you forget everyone around, you find a room, if you don't have a church, a room in your home or somewhere when you can be alone. And you just sit there and say, Lord, here I am. I don't know you. I don't believe in you. But if you're really there, show me. And he will. And that is where the real inner strength starts coming in. And yes, things are thrown at you from various people, various situations, like everybody else. We're all on the same planet. But you need to go on. And through prayer, that is where the strength will definitely come. I mean, do I miss out sometimes? Of course I do, unfortunately, but I feel bad about it when I'm bad, in the sense that you do feel different. And then the thing is, you start, for example, when my father passed away, I couldn't go to the hospital. I had seen him on a Saturday. He died the following Wednesday. I heard the knock on the door at around midnight when my family came to tell me that he had passed away. I wanted to go to the funeral, and I had prepared all my clothes. And that was the first morning, I think, that I had walked out of bed, and the weather was terrible, terrible. I knew, excuse me, I knew I should not be out of the house, but I was literally pacing up and down my corridor and saying, Lord, I want to go. Lord, I want to go. Why shouldn't I go? I want to go. Anyway, at midday, I think I had heard the church bells ring. It was pouring cats and dogs, to the point that to take my father in from the hearse to the church, which is just 20 feet maybe, they got drenched. So what am I saying? I mean, of course I wanted to be there for my father, but I knew it was okay. It wasn't a tragedy. It wasn't like everything is a problem. We will make problem. Even if somebody crashes in your car, it's a problem. No, it's not a problem. I mean, the car doesn't hurt. Yes, my pocket will hurt, but it can wait. As long as you don't hurt, it's okay. We don't need to make stories out of little things. I was going to say about my father, because when he passed away and my family were there at midnight, I did not need to cry. Now, I had not had the breakthrough yet, but yes, the Lord was working in my life. I knew, I sensed it very clearly within my, and I didn't tell anyone, of course, but I knew what came to me was, he is in the next room. Years later, probably years later, I come across a bookmark which said, like, do not cry because I am round the corner, it said. I said, I experienced that myself. So you see, inner strength will come from prayer, consistent prayer. We try to do it as much as we can. And you take your day, your situation, I say not day by day, no. It is moment by moment. When I had no food on the table or didn't have money to buy food, I didn't think of the evening. I thought of lunchtime. And that was fine. I saw what I had and I did. Then I thought of dinner. And then the following day was another day. So you do it moment by moment, because otherwise anything can happen in 5 minutes, in 15 minutes. But that is where the strength comes from prayer.
Thank you so much for sharing that. I'm, again, just so appreciative of you being here and the fact that you are so strong and you are a role model for people to realize that there is hope and there is opportunity for growth. Philip, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm just pondering and thinking about what Antoinette shared, and it's deep, and there's so much to be said about how we can dig so deep within ourselves to find that inner strength to move forward. And this is just a strong message to anybody out there who's going through any form of challenge, and we all have challenges in our lives. There's no one that doesn't have a challenge.
Of course.
You know, Dr. JACALYN, I know you've been faced with many challenges, vice versa, all these things. It is about that hope, and I do believe building a connection with a higher being, whoever that might be in people's lives. But for me, absolutely God and gratitude. Those are things for me that spur me on. Those are things that help me get out of those days or moments when you're finding life very, very tough. And yeah, we've just got to take what we can from this and learn. Learn, what can I learn from this? What can I gain from this? Not why me? Why me? Because we all me. You know, I think I may have shared this to you before, back at, when we first kicked off the show. It's a year coming up very shortly, isn't it, Dr. JACALYN, of the show? And one of the people we interviewed many years ago, not on this show, it was another show, but she said, why is it happening for me? Let's turn that around. Not why is it happening to me? Because if we go through life with why is it happening to me and we play the victim, you will never move forward. You will never move forward. Look at why is it happening for me? And I think that's exactly what you've done, Antoinette. You know, you've taken the bull by the horns and you've actually looked at each situation and you've built strength on that. So and it takes huge, huge strength to take the strength that you've taken from these incidences.
Yeah, Absolutely. I agree with that. And Antoinette, for people who are looking for additional strength or they want to reach out to you personally, you have shared your email address. Can you
Yes.
please share that for people who are not able to read the banner? How can they reach out to you?
Would you like me to, what do you mean, read it out?
Yes,
Fine.
please.
Yes, so it's Antoinette Ransley, ANTOINETTERANSLEY, that's one word, Antoinette Ransley, at hotmail.com. Please feel free if I can help you in any way. I mean, I'd be delighted to do so, really.
Thank you so much. It's been an honor and a pleasure to have you here with us today. And we hope you
Yeah.
come back and see us again on this show or any of our others.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. And thank you, Philip. Thank you so much.
A
Thank you.
wonderful weekend. Enjoy the beautiful weather.
To you too. Yeah, yes. To you too.
Yeah, Antoinette. Thank you
We
so
do.
much.
Thank you.
Sorry, we do have one more comment before you go from Tara. Hi, nice to have you back with us. Sometimes seeking refuge into the divine creator within the bless of times are the best healer. Thank you. Thank
Thanks,
you.
Tara. It's
Thank
great.
you.
Really
Thank
was.
you.
Great. Thank you
Really,
again, Antoinette. Have a nice weekend.
thank you very much. Bye bye.
Take care,
Bye.
Antoinette. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye. Another great show, Philip. Thank you so much.
Sure, deep, and I've got to know Antoinette very well. In the we worked with one another in the amazing cohort that you had the privilege of meeting very briefly with the afternoon tea experience, and she's an incredible woman. And what she has been through, that's just scratching the surface. And she's just an incredible person. She's a survivor, and she survived so many narrow escapes. And I do believe that whether you believe in God or any sort of religion, God has a plan for all of us. I really do. So taking our experiences and drawing from our experiences and really drawing from our experiences and putting them into a life that we can help others and guide others and go out there selflessly, we can make such a difference. And I can assure you, just with Antoinette opening up those 4 different stories has touched people that we will never know. And it's made maybe a penny drop or given that boost or that opportunity to reach out to someone like Antoinette and talk things through. We need to open up, we need to talk to one another, because suffering in silence is not what it's about. Please, everybody out there, you're going through a tough time, just pick up a phone to someone you can talk to.
Thank you so much, Philip. I second that for sure. And that's what we stand for here is education for people to come forward and provide hope and inspiration. And that's absolutely what Antoinette did today.
100%. And I cannot believe our time has shot past as always.
It just
Not,
zooms by.
but yeah, Dr. JACALYN, as always, thank you for this amazing opportunity. It's so lovely to see you. I know you've got various shows coming up, and I always, where I can, I get a notification of what's coming up on USA Global TV. And if I've got a few moments, I drop into the shows. And the quality and caliber of people that you've surrounded yourself with are just extraordinary. So, I salute you in this journey and what you're achieving, because I know it's selfless. Yes, you're in business, but you're selfless. You give, and you give people this incredible platform. So thank you.
Well, thank you, Philip. I really appreciate that. And to Antoinette's point and what you just said, there are many days that we come to work and there is no money, there's no paycheck, but the reward inside is enormous. And that's the driver, that's the passion, that you see people's faces light up when they're sharing stories. You see comments that people share, hey, I've had things happen, I'm really resonating with what you're sharing. And so I know you feel the same way that I do too. It's all about giving back and helping other people.
Absolutely, 100%. And it's making changes in people's lives. But we have to change first from within. Then we can help. And we need to work on ourselves all the time. We're a constant, as one of our past students says, we're all a work in progress. We are. And we've got to be pushing ourselves forward each day, because now some days are bad days, some days are challenging days. Other days we go swimming into a day and we're singing, skipping and dancing. But we've got to take, especially those days where we feel very low and flat, how can we elevate ourselves?
It's absolutely true. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. And thank you for sharing this space with me. As you mentioned earlier, we are coming up on 1 year. We're celebrating our 1 year anniversary celebration on January 15th. So we hope everybody will join us. Mr. Alcini is going to be co-hosting. He promises to have a top hat in addition to his tuxedo and his bow tie. So it should be a lot of fun, and people can go over to the website usaglobaltv.com and they can register there. So Philip, I would love to spotlight you again, and for people who want to be part of this great community, this global community that you have created, please let them know how they get involved. Where's the first place to start? You offer so many fabulous courses. People can, they might be like, oh, I want this one, that one, I don't know where to start, and then they don't do anything. So where's the first place to start?
The first place to start is ask yourself if you want to elevate yourself to another level, if you want to build confidence, if you want to go through life with a little bit more ease, a little bit more direction. Our organization is really focused on the power of etiquette, manners, emotional intelligence, but it's also about inspiration and motivation. We bring it all into real life scenarios. This is not about a list of do's and don'ts. A lot of people think etiquette and manners are do's and don'ts, where I need to turn on my manners because I'm entering into a situation where I need to be on my best behavior. We should always be on our best behavior. So as an organization, please do take time to look at our website, which is the 3 W's.thebritishschoolofexcellence.com. Take a look at our YouTube channel. There's some wonderful webinars on there with beautiful learning material. There's some incredible feedback and testimonials from students who, off their own back, sent in a testimonial. Yes, we've made it look pretty, but it was their words on their life-changing experience with the British School of Excellence. We can bespoke programs. We work with the most incredible luxury retail brands out there, jewelry and clothing, helping the shop floor people, executives, people who are experts in their field, elevate themselves to a completely different level so they can give that exceptional customer service. We work with students going through university, giving them those quintessential tools to put their best foot forward in the business sector, the business world, how to interview and be at the top of your game through your interviews, how to present from the front of the stage, all of these sort of things and more. Voice coaching, how do we use this beautiful toolbox that we've been blessed with? All of these things can make a big difference in your life. I walk the walk, I talk the talk, I am my brand. And if you can write down that I am my brand note to self, and you're comfortable with that, keep doing what you're doing out there. Let people be your advocate. Let people push you and drive you forward and make that difference in your life.
So well said, Philip. Thank you. And I just want to add, one of our recent shows, my eyes flew open because it's an area that I think is so underserved. You have 2 physicians in Pakistan that are putting together a program for medical students, physicians, nurses, people in the healthcare sector to learn etiquette and manners. And what I thought was so timely, right after that, I went to see a new doctor, and he really needs to take this course because he was just literally treating me like I was a dog, pointing, hitting the table for me to jump up on it like I was a pet. Or I thought to myself, oh my goodness, the whole healthcare sector needs to learn about etiquette and manners. And here you have your alumni working on that, something that can be rolled out globally. So you and your team are at the forefront of where all of us in this world need to be, because etiquette, manners, emotional intelligence, integrity, character, kindness, that's what this world needs. It all goes together in a beautiful package, and you are serving it up so eloquently. And I just applaud you and your team for everything you're doing.
And we keep trying to do more and more. Obviously, we're all given the same amount of time each day. We've got to use that to the best of our ability. And I thank you for that, Dr. JACALYN, because genuinely, I truly believe that as an organization, that is exactly what we're about. We know our why, we know our purpose, and we know what we do and how we do it. And I know I'm saying it as the founder and the principal of the organization, but we are at the top of our game, and we're trying to get better and better each day. And don't take my word for it. As I said, there's some incredible testimonials that people have taken the time to share. And I just have to put something else in there. Out of the blue, a gentleman who I've worked with in coaching and training, we've become reasonably good friends. He phoned me up the other day and he says, Philip, I hope you don't mind me sharing this with you, but I hope you're open to feedback. I said, give me feedback anytime. If you get feedback, you can feed forward. And he said to me, I want to sit down with you, because I don't think people actually understand what the British School of Excellence is all about. I don't think people understand how dynamic the coaching and training and the material that you deliver, the motivation, the inspiration. He said, when you worked with our organization, it's not me on my own, but our team, their profit went up by 30% in 6 months. And they're in a very interesting industry. They're in the alternative investment sector. And it was fascinating. He said, if I could just voice what you've given me as an individual, it has changed my life. It's changed my marriage. It's changed my relationship with my children, and it's changed my whole business world. And those words came out of his mouth. And he's actually putting some time aside next week for me to go and have breakfast with him, so I can listen to how he feels we should be pushing and promoting the British School of Excellence.
Wow, what a fabulous testimonial. Thank you for sharing that. And I wanted to add just one more thing, because I thought of you. There was a post on Instagram by someone, I'm not going to mention his name. I believe he and his wife are billionaires, and they're always touting their work. And anyway, long story short, he had a huge stack of $100 bills. And what he wrote was, people say that money can't buy happiness, but take a look at this. And then on each bill was written something like car, jet, purse, shoes, all monetary related items. And I thought, what you can't buy is etiquette and manners, class, respect, trust, all of these things. And that to me was an insight into his world. And I'm not judging him, I'm just saying, but we have so many people across the world that money is their God. It is all about money. And when you take a step back, when you're leading your life in a heart-centric way, as we do here, as you do there, you have a completely different perspective about what really is important and what is priceless.
Completely. And the frightening thing is, we come into this world with nothing, we leave with nothing. You might leave a very great legacy in the sense of, a trust fund for kids or family, that's fine. But literally at the end of the day, if we come into this world with nothing and we leave with nothing, and in other words, we get buried or whatever it is, when I say we leave nothing, it's something people need to take on board. And life is short. We know that. We know how from one second to the next you can be here and you can also have disappeared. And I read something the other day. Material success may result in the accumulation of possessions, but only spiritual success will enable you to enjoy them. And I think that's huge.
I totally agree with you. And as I shared with you before, I left my corporate career. I made 6 figures. I traveled the world. I stayed in 5-star resorts, and I was always sick. I got ulcerative colitis, facial eczema, scalp psoriasis, because I wasn't in my lane. I wasn't following my passion. And so many people who are out there right now are stuck in a rut because they don't want to let go of their paycheck. They're terrified to step into their glory and even be curious about what else is out there for them. So I hope people will take away many things from this show, but one thing definitely to take away is the fact that be curious about what else is out there for you, and treat people with respect. Work on yourself. Be interested to find out, what else can I offer this world? Why am I here? What is my purpose? As opposed to just punching a clock, following the same routine day after day. And contact Philip, go over to his website and be curious about the offerings that they have and how this can help you tap into your emotional intelligence and you're blossoming as a human being on this planet.
completely. Absolutely. And I just have to just ride on your wave there. The 3 most harmful addictions are heroin, carbohydrates, and a monthly salary. Don't you love that? The 3
I've
most
never heard that.
This was written by Nassim Nicholas Taleb, but I just love it. The 3 most harmful addictions are heroin, carbohydrates, and a monthly salary. So step out of your comfort zone. Everyone has an opportunity to make a difference in this world or do something amazing. And you just need to go out there and do it.
And Philip and I are both examples. We both we're in our 2nd or 3rd chapter of our life, and couldn't be happier. And another comment from Tarek, thank you. Excellent views. Well, thank you. We really appreciate your support, and we hope that you'll pay it forward. We really love having loyal followers like you. And when are we interviewing you? I don't know, Tarek. Go sign up, please. We'd love to have you. Go to usaglobaltv.com. Well, my dear friend, it's time for us to say au revoir for now. And we will see everyone next Friday. Please do go over to the website. I'm putting it up again. Here we go. It is the British School of Excellence.com. Philip would love to hear from you and introduce you to his team and have you join their fabulous community.
Absolutely. And you asked me at the beginning of the show, what's the resemblance of this beautiful poppy? For all of those soldiers out there who lost their lives in First World War, Second World War, and any war for that matter, it's Remembrance Day here today. For those of you out there, the First World War ended in 1918 on this day, the 11th of November. And here in the United Kingdom, and I know in America, and many parts of the world are remembering those who put their lives on the line and unfortunately did not come back to, protect their countries, to protect their families. So, anyone out there serving in the military, Navy, Air Force, we salute you and we thank you for what you do, and, Godspeed on everything you do.
Thank you so much for sharing that. Happy Veterans Day. I have family members and friends who have served and who are serving, and we just give you all of our blessings and our thanks for keeping us safe wherever we are. So we look forward to having you back again next week with another fabulous topic. You can go and see all of our previous episodes over on our YouTube channel, which is USA Global TV and Radio. And another announcement that I promised we're closing is that in January, we'll be live streaming from our website, which is usaglobaltv.com. You'll also be able to access us from USA Global TV and Radio.com. So you can watch us live on our website. I'm really excited about that. And that's all I have for now. Philip, thank you again, and look forward to seeing everybody next week.
Thank you.
Bye for now.
Thank
you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.